And I actually answer, right? People are often amazed because they see my videos on YouTube, right? And they actually, because I put my actual cell phone on the videos and on my website, and it goes right to my cell phone. It doesn't go to my receptionist. It doesn't go to my office assistant. So they call that number expecting to get somebody else. And then all of a sudden, hi, this is David.
Do you always answer?
Yes. Yes, I do. Now, I'm rapidly things are rapidly exponentiating, as all things do that go viral on the internet. And I rue that day when I can't do that anymore. But as far as I'm concerned, if you call that number, I will answer. And I will always answer. Right? Getting back to my wife is from mainland China, and she has some very interesting stories to tell there. But she's also very much into martial arts. And as you don't know, I'm a lifelong martial artist. I have a 9th degree in Okinawan karate. I'm a certified instructor in combat systema, which is a Russian martial art. Right? I've studied Yanagi-hara Aiki Jiu-Jitsu. I have a 2nd degree brown belt in Kosho Kempo, brown belt in small circle Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in both modern arnis and single mano eskrima. And I'm also certified in what they call modular knife combat, which is an offshoot of modern arnis. It's much more scaled down. It's taught by Grandmaster Bram Frank.
San Diego?
Yes. I also am a certified instructor through a program called Just Yell Fire, which is a women's self-defense program. So it's a nonprofit. So there's a tremendous amount of martial arts in the hypnosis that I do. And there's a tremendous amount of hypnosis in the martial arts that I do. I'm also, let me just finish the pedigree and I'll finish the wife story and then we'll get into the real reason why you're here. Which it all relates actually. Because my wife, when she studied in China, grew up in one of the birthplaces of Taoism. It's called Sichuan Province. It's a very remote, very humid place, but there's a lot of Taoist temples. There's a lot of very esoteric traditions there. And I had gone to study at martial arts school, or not martial, acupuncture school. And her friend, I had reactivated the old martial arts club on that campus. And her friend pointed at me, I said, that's the guy doing the seminar, the pressure point seminar, the martial artist. And she looks at me, she looks at her friend, she goes, he's the martial artist? He's not even Chinese. Right? And so I'm walking by, and I had the only I'm gonna trip, I know it. Okay? We had the only acupuncture school with an actual cadaver lab. So I'm walking into the anatomy lab. Anybody here ever been in an anatomy lab? It has a very unique smell, doesn't it? Yeah, that too, right? Okay. So I'm walking by this cadaver, and she's there with her friend, and she lunges over me. And to this day, I say it's a scalpel. She says it was a probe. She goes, "Are you the martial artist?" And I'm like, "Ah!" Right? I thought, what rule did I break now? I'm going to end up like Bruce Lee or something. White people aren't supposed to know this shit. Right? And there's a long, drawn-out history there. So, welcome to my world. I'm a little too loud for my own good here. Won't you come on in? Wow. There's chairs up front. The people in the front row always get the best stuff. How many people here have been in a actual week-long training or a 3-day training with me, just so I know? All right, if you have any questions about any of the things I'm going to cover, see these people, right? They know this stuff backwards and forwards because I drill them on it intensely. In our last hypnotherapy certification, they were doing instant inductions halfway through the first day. By the end of the training, one guy had logged over 115 instant inductions. Okay? We do more hands-on than anybody on the planet. Okay? That being said, this is a hands-on class. You are actually going to be doing this stuff. Okay? Because it's not enough for me to just stand up here and lecture at you. Anybody can do that. I want you to have an experience. Does that make sense? Real quick, though, there are a few things that we have to get out of the way. I don't care if you've been a hypnotist, no pun intended, right? I don't care if you've been a hypnotist for 20 years or 20 minutes. There will be many things I do that you recognize. There will be some things I do that you have no idea I'm even doing. It's okay. You're all going to be dramatically successful at this. Okay? The one thing I've learned is that you don't have to believe any of it. Don't have to believe it. You just got to do it. With 3 basic components. A, you got to be playful. You got to be playful. You got to have fun with this. There's tremendous, tremendous power in playful, even when you're dealing with very, very serious traumas. Okay? I've had people who have been completely disabled with PTSD. And they've been through 3 tours. One was in Serbia, one was in Afghanistan. These guys are just completely disabled. And we get them generating tremendous pleasure in their bodies, in their neurology. The nervous system resets itself. We give them suggestions, and they come out completely changed. A lot of the techniques that I do are based on pleasure, on oxytocin release in the system. Okay? I can go into the neuroscience, but then we can go into a profoundly unresourceful trance state, where blood dribbles out your nose, out your eyes, the drool starts. Right? I apologize for the intermittent sound. I will do my best to work around that. I have a couple questions for you. So the first thing is you got to be playful, right? Second, you must be absorbed, grasshopper, in what we are doing. And you must be focused. Now, many people think when I say absorbed and focused, they think I know what the hell I'm talking about. No, they don't. I have a question for you. How many people here have ever been little kids? Now, if I see anybody not raising your hand, get the fuck out. Right? Every now and then I have some smart ass in the back going, no, I was born in a test tube and I grew up on computational models. Fuck you, get out. All right? You can always tell when you're in this position like I am, you can always tell who's going to get change and who's not. Because I will tell the audience, I will give the audience an instruction to do something, and everybody does it but that one person. And I say, now do this, and they go, Okay? This goes back to what I call smart guy syndrome and hypnotist disease. They are 2 very, very closely related phenomena, but they are slightly different. If you have never been a hypnotist, you are somewhat immune to hypnotist disease, but you're a prime candidate for smart guy syndrome. Okay? Smart guy syndrome is that part of you that's trying to have the process happen while evaluating if it's actually working or not. Well, remember what I said. You need 3 components, right? You need to be playful, you need to be absorbed, and you need to be focused. If there's a part of you trying to have the experience, a part of you trying to evaluate if the experience is actually working and making judgments about it, how absorbed are you? Yes? No? Sort of, right? To the degree that you engage in that particular process, you will hold yourself back. That being said, everybody's nervous system has a greater or lesser degree of responsiveness and plasticity. And that won't stop this shit from working on you. Okay? The only thing I ask is that you actively don't fight the techniques. Right? Skeptical is fine. If what I do in Solana Beach, which by the way, what I do in Solana Beach, I made that joke about weight loss. You know how many I get? I get about 3 a year. Okay? My specialty is physiological illness that has as its root repressed emotion. I get physiological illness that has as its root repressed emotion. So I get everything from chronic pain that nobody knows why it started, or they know where it started, they just don't know why it won't go away, all the way up to cancer, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, 45-year-long cases of scoliosis. The pain just does not go away. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Herpes outbreaks. I mean, I get the full spectrum of stuff. Okay? The techniques that I'm going to share with you in the next 2 hours, first of all, I'm going to take you as far as I can in the time that we have. And if you want more, I'll show you where to go for more if you guys want. Would that be okay? Show of hands if that's all right. Thank you. Okay, so I use this technique every day. Now some people, Richard Bandler used to joke about after a while he got so good at NLP he would just start charging people by the change instead of by the session or how long it took. And I thought, wow, that's a joke. He's an arrogant motherfucker. And I started doing this. And I'm like, 30 minutes into it, I've fixed 10 things. Right? Because it does work that fast. Now, I will tell you this. One of the reasons that a lot of times people don't fully succeed with this, and I'll show you the workarounds, is that they give up too soon. This is a process that is very much wash, rinse, repeat until it's done. Just like if you're doing like in regression where you just rerun the experience until you delete the emotional charge, the nervous system works best and learns fastest through repetition. Through repetition. Through repetition. Okay? So, I'm going to give you guys the basic technique, and then I'm going to have you practice it. We're going to come back. I'm going to show you a few workarounds. We'll do a few demos. I know a lot of people in this room have actually used some of this stuff. How many people here have actually used any of this stuff? Cool. I can't wait to hear you guys. Right? So, playful, right? I'll get into the playful aspect in a minute. Because we're actually going to use this technique to get really playful, really quick, and feel really good, really quick. By the way, I also am doing an erotic hypnosis 2-day session. Just an idea. Hypnotist disease. Nobody here qualifies for that, right? Hypnotist disease is that unique behavior that seems to come up whenever you break up into groups of 2 or 3 to do an exercise, and you are a seasoned hypnotist working with another seasoned hypnotist, or maybe even not a seasoned hypnotist, and you're in there and you're being guided through this trance process, and you're exhibiting all the phenomena, or not, and you're sitting there going, oh, is he better than me? I'm going to use that. Something you can steal. I'm going to suggest that if there's a part of you trying to evaluate the experience or who's better, you're not really absorbed in the process. So, by a show of hands again, how many people here have ever played pretend? Or no, sorry, been children? Okay, much better. Much better. How many people here ever played pretend as little kids? Very cool. When you played pretend, young lady, what did you play at?
I was always this American Indian.
American Indian.
Walking through the...
So were you like a tomboy or a tomgirl? It's okay. I was a tomgirl myself. No, sorry. That's a YouTube video going bad.
More of a tomboy.
More of a tomboy? That's cool. Joe, were you a tomboy or a tomgirl?
No, I was a tomgirl.
You were a tomgirl. So you were a girly girl. You played with your teacup. You're princessy. How about you, sir? What did you play at when you were a kid?
Army.
Were you a little kid ever? Okay. You played pretend?
Army, yeah.
Cool. And how about you?
Teacher.
Teacher. Wow. And did you have a class?
I did.
Who was your class?
The neighborhood kids.
The neighborhood kids. Did you ever have a pretend class?
Yes.
And teach the pretend class? Did they ask questions?
Yes,
Did you answer them?
I did.
Were they happy when you answered them?
I think they said, we're done playing school.
I'm talking about the pretend friends. We have meds. Her imaginary friends were tired of school. I love that. I'm going to use it. My point, though, is when you played soldier, sir, did you ever use a toy gun or a stick or a prop or something like that? Now, I'm betting, I'll get to some of you guys in the back in a minute. I'll pick on you. I'm betting when you picked up that stick or that toy gun, you knew it was a toy. You knew it was just a stick, right? For the first 5 minutes. 6.5 minutes later, it's a real M60, you're really Rambo, and there's really communists coming around the corner, right? And you're chucking and you're jiving and you're dodging bullets. How many girly girls we got in the room? Girly girls? All right, I like him already. Bury your soul, my friend, right? Now maybe you played teacups, maybe you played house, maybe you played all those little girly games, but you used your imagination. Yes? And maybe you had tea with your stuffed animals and you had conversations with your stuffed animals or your imaginary friends. I have a question for you. Were you asleep? No. Were you really, really absorbed in what you were doing?
Yes.
Were you focused? Were you having a ball? Ladies and gentlemen, if you can do that, you can do anything I'm about to teach you. If you can just be as a little kid, be playful, and just play pretend, you can do anything I'm about to teach you, and you can help 1 million people, just like I did. I can literally say that because I have over 1.5 million views on YouTube. So I know there's a lot of people out there getting help, and it's grand, but I'm not enough. I need you. I need all of you. I need all of you out there doing this. That's why I'm here. Do well by doing good. Don't be afraid to charge for your services. But don't be hesitant about going nuclear if you need to, right? And you can. You can help a lot of people with this stuff. Even the stuff you had before this, you can help a lot of people. Now, people are going to start noticing you. So be prepared for that. I got an email from Did I tell you guys about the doctor in Malaysia? If I get a chance, I'll pull it up on my computer and I'll read it to you. It's pretty profound. But that's really all it's about, guys. If you can play pretend like you would, like when you were a little kid, and you can point to where you feel something in your body, you have everything you need to change it. I call it point and click therapy. Okay? Everything about what we do, whether you're certified in NLP, whether you're a hypnotist, whether you're an energy healer, a body worker, everything that clients come to us for comes down to a feeling they are having in their body that they want to change. You understand that? It's not about the voice in their head. Although NLP will tell you that. It's not about the picture in their head or the bad, something leaving a bad taste in their mouth or whatever. It's never about that. It's about how that picture or that voice or that smell or that taste makes them feel. Does that make sense? Even NLP will tell you. How many people are certified in NLP? Okay. How many people here know what a convincer strategy is? Okay. If you don't, I will give you the nuts and bolts Reader's Digest version. Just like a slot machine has a certain number of reps it's going to go through before the jackpot hits, your nervous system has a certain number of repetitions it has to cycle through before it accepts change. Or it will take an action. Yes, sir?
Can I get you to drop your volume about 10%?
10%? Okay. That's all right. Okay, let's see. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was had a little too much vibration anyway. So I will just speak much louder. You're very welcome, sir. Okay. So the secret to this is, as a hypnotist, especially if we're not trained in NLP, NLP has this long drawn-out way of eliciting somebody's convincer strategy. Screw that. I don't have the patience. Okay? And it's highly contextual. And as a hypnotist, by the way, if you're going to go through my training silo, before I ever teach you NLP, you are going to be a master of hypnosis first. Because when you master hypnosis, NLP gets really easy really quick. Hypnosis is the easiest, sloppiest, most forgiving form of change work ever invented. You can screw up 9 times out of 10, fix it on the 10th, no one will ever know. And it still works better than everything else. That being said, a lot of the things I'm going to teach you, a lot of the things I'm going to be sharing with you are backed up by neuroscience and psychology. I study psychology intensely, and I really pay attention to when they actually get something to work. And there's a reason. Because I know if a psychologist can do it, if I use it in hypnosis, it's really going to knock them dead, right? It's usually a really rock-solid principle. I love psychology. I'm a fan of every form of mind science out there, but there are limitations to talking to the wrong part of the brain. And most of them have no idea of somatic engagement, which is what we're going to be working with today. You got to get your meat suit involved. Okay? You got to get the body involved. A lot of us are into conversational hypnosis. A lot of us are into having somebody vegetative in the chair. I'm telling you, that is actually one of the weakest ways to get change, and it's one of the slowest. When you want to get rapid, powerful change, get the body involved. Everything in our life goes back to feelings. Feelings live in your body. Whether you believe in energetics, whether you believe in auras and proprioception and all this stuff, doesn't matter. Get the body involved. When I say reach out and grab something and spin it like a wheel, physically reach out, grab that sucker and spin it like a wheel. Because the same exact mechanism kicks in as when you play pretend. For the first 5 minutes, you know it's not exactly the same as the real thing. And then at some point, the nervous system just doesn't care anymore. And it just gets the message, and it makes the change. Does that make sense? Okay. How many people here are ever going to see a movie? Going to see a movie. See, now I need to turn my thing back up, don't I? I have sound issues. Right? Now, I don't know about you, but maybe you're going to a movie. Maybe you like comedies. Maybe you like action movies. You know, you walk into the movie theater. Got your best girl or best guy on one hand, bottle of pop, big box of popcorn in the other, and you're walking down wondering who's going to be more fun. You sit down, some reason, though, people always chuckle at that. I don't know why. You sit down, the lights go down, the show starts. Can you tell me at what moment you became completely absorbed in that movie? Before it started. If you can actually tell me when that happened, you're lying. It means you weren't absorbed. Understand? Just like a movie. Be fully absorbed. And of course, 90 minutes, 2 hours go by, you have an amazing experience. And except for this chronic ache in your bladder because you stayed for the very last credit, where you're going, oh God, I hope I make it. Nobody else is an Avengers fan like me, always waiting for the last thing. Okay. So those are the basics, okay? Couple of administrative things real quick. This means I know the answer. This means I don't. This means, oh shit, I hope he doesn't call on me. This means yes. This means no. There will be a test. They thought I was joking last class. I got you. Okay? All right. So, what we're going to do, what I find is the best way to do this, we're going to do it as a group exercise first. I will come up and I will do some basic demos. And then we're going to break up into groups of 2 or 3. And we're just going to play for 10, 15 minutes. We'll come back. I'll show you some workarounds and some little troubleshooting things that you can play with. Okay? And then I'll show you what to do next. Does that be cool? All right. How many people here would like to feel good for no friggin' reason? Oh, I think you're going, I don't know if I can handle it. Oh! All right. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Don't block my camera, man! You know, somebody in the next room is going, I just told him to turn his microphone down. Now he's shouting because I'm an asshole. All right. So everybody, I want you to remember a time. Now, remember, we're going to do this 2 or 3 times as a group. Okay? This will be the worst you'll ever be at it, and you'll still be amazing. Okay? What I want you to do first is I want you to remember a time in your life when you felt absolutely playful. When you were having the best time ever. Or if you can't figure out playful, go with pleasure. Maybe you guys have an idea of something that felt really, really good. Not that one, the other one. As you think about that, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. But most importantly, what I want you to do, realizing that everybody's eyes closed, so nobody's going to see where you're pointing, I want you to point to where that feeling lives in your body. Point to where it starts. Just physically point to it. As you point to it, I want you to look at it with your inner eyes. I want you to notice that there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color? First impression. That's all right. Just reach it now. What I want you to do is physically, with both of your hands, reach into that area, grab all that energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. Excellent. As you look at it in your hands, first thing I want you to notice, did the color change or stay the same? First impression. That's right. Now grab it with both. Actually, as you hold it in your hands, I want you to look at it. Notice it's moving. Notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Now physically grab it with both of your hands. Since this is something you want more of, I want you to spin it in the direction it's already moving. Spin it like a wheel. I want you to double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice as it works its way deeper and deeper into every level of your nervous system, how every part of you begins to get stronger and stronger, pleasured, but interesting, something else begins to happen. Any program running in your body that isn't in harmony with this new way of being, the body will begin to shed. It will begin to purge. It will begin to release like a snake shedding its skin, like a software program uninstalling the old unneeded software. And when you know it's done, just let it happen. Don't try to measure it. Don't try to manage it. Just allow it to happen. When you know it's done, try to slow it down and notice what happens instead. When you know you got it, open your eyes, notice how different you feel. You need a shower. What'd you notice, guys? Gals? Shit, I'm taking that to my next party. Right?
It's hot in here.
It's hot in here. Right? Now, we're just getting started. Everybody feel good? Now, notice, point to where you feel it again. Now, with one hand, I want you to touch the spot. With another hand, I want you to reach out. Imagine that there's a picture connected to that feeling, floating in the space around you. All I want you to do is reach out and touch it with your opposite hand. Excellent. Once you find it, go with your first impression. Trace the edges of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Beautiful. Now grab the edges of it with both your hands, and just like you open the window on your iPhone or your Mac or whatever, touch screen, just make it as big as an IMAX movie theater screen. Try not to slug the person next to you. Woohoo! Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. That worked for you, didn't it? Yeah, highly visual. Now, make it bigger. Notice if the colors in picture are black and white. If it's not in color, make it color. Notice what happens. Now, pull it closer to your body. Notice what happens. Beautiful. Now lift it up over your head. And pull it down around you like a big blanket. And let those feelings just sink in. Let them become a natural way of moving through the world, realizing that this feeling that you're having is only going to get stronger. In fact, as you look inside and you see that little spinning energy, you may notice it's actually spinning faster now. And as you pay attention to how rapidly it's spinning, notice what happens in your body as it continues to pick up speed, doubling in force, doubling in magnitude, doubling in amplitude. Just observe it. Notice how it changes your entire body state. Realizing as it spins faster and faster, your nervous system becomes more and more teachable. As you experience more and more pleasure, all of my words, the meaning behind my words, and every other good thing that you come for the seminar for is already being installed in a place where they can easily take root and grow inside of you. And each and every time you successfully complete an exercise, this feeling will double. It will triple. In fact, the more people you do, the better it feels. In fact, just to show you that your unconscious mind is totally serious about being playful, I want you to imagine you've just completed an exercise with someone and notice what happens. That's right. Try to slow it down. Notice what happens instead. Oh shit. Nothing left to do but feel good. When you know you've got it, open your eyes. Notice how different the world looks. Have a seat. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Now, the process is very, very simple. No matter where the problem... For those of you who don't know, you guys know I'm a certified or licensed diplomat of Oriental medicine, but I'm also a certified Reiki master, certified pranic healer, certified pranic psychotherapist, certified DNA theta healer. I've been studying Kabbalah for well over 20 years. Okay, I've been doing Kabbalah since before Madonna, so I'm very much a prima donna. Right? I've been doing Reiki since before Reiki was actually cool. Right? So I know a little bit about energetics. I'm also very much. I also used to teach remote viewing and remote influence. I still teach remotely. I actually still teach those things. In fact, I have a course coming up in November if anybody's interested in that kind of stuff. But you can't actually get into that class until you've been through one of my other trainings. That's a 400-level course. Okay?
Have to remove your location of the data?
Yes. But you can do that through the internet. You can remote view through the internet. You can do that, right? Right? It's called Google Maps. Be that as it may, though. But I'm also very, very critical. I'm a critical guy. I mean, I'm very competitive. You might have noticed that. Right? And I haven't got time in my life for bullshit. Right? I'm looking for what's working, what works consistently, and what has the most pervasive application. If I can only use a technique or a process in one tiny area, I lose patience with it really, really quickly. That creates a whole other set of problems. But one of the things I want you to understand is that when we combine energetics with the power of hypnosis, we can treat the entire human being. The problem with a lot of energy healing disciplines isn't that they don't work, okay? It's that they're marvelously unspecific. The vast majority of energy workers who talk to me can't string 2 sentences together without going into trance. Most of them are broke, okay, which is a big problem, right? You need to be doing well by doing good, right? And I'm big on that. I want all my students to be very, very successful and make friggin' money doing the stuff that they love and feeds their spirit. They're not mutually exclusive. Sidebar. The problem is that most energy healing disciplines do not treat the entire human being. In my worldview, in my world of energetics, it's based on Hermetic philosophy, Hermetic principles, which if you don't know what that is, I will sidebar that and come back to it. But think of the human being, the human organism, as having a physical body, an energetic or astral body, and a mental body. Most of your energy healing disciplines, from my perspective, again, this is the world according to David. If what I'm teaching you works for you, if it meshes with your belief systems and the techniques work, embrace it, use it. If it doesn't, throw it out and find something that does. Okay? I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If my stuff does not resonate with you, chuck it. Okay? The problem is that most energy healing disciplines only treat the physical and the astral body or the energy body, the level at the acupuncture meridians, even the ones that say they go to the chakras, which I have a whole theory on that as well. Okay? The only disciplines I have seen that directly target the mental body is hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming. Okay? You will not hear me talk about auras in this class. Okay? Because anytime I hear the word aura, what I hear is, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I know that might piss somebody off. I don't mean to offend you. Everything I'm going to explain to you, everything I'm going to share with you, you can explain from a purely metaphysical, yogic, Vedic perspective. Or we can look at neuroscience. I find that, you see, everything that we're doing is actually based on the laws of physics. Okay? So okay, I actually have a marker. I'm excited now. So, most people, when they think of the aura, right, they think of this nebulous little egg-shaped cloud around the body that has several layers to it, right? But I don't think of it that way at all. In fact, I look at the human nervous system, aside from being the world's largest organic antenna, okay, is also the world's most comprehensive, fractal, archetypal, holographic information processing system on the planet. Okay? If it's a processing system, it has to have an organizing function. How many people have ever noticed that unless somebody's actually lying, their hands tend to move when they talk? You ever notice that? You will after this. When you start working with your clients and they start describing their problem, how many go, you know, I got this thing and I can't get past it, right? Or I got this problem, it just keeps whirring in my head. Now, how many of you were paying attention to my words? How many were paying attention to this? That's where the problem is. The human proprioceptive nervous system. Anybody here ever see Iron Man? Or Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Mission Impossible? You know my favorite scenes? When they pull up that big virtual reality bubble and they expand these diagrams and they swipe that aside and they move through that and they process shit, right? I get into that, right? Because I'm a geek. Where do you think the inspiration for that came from? Any ideas? Not a fucking clue. You were at my last seminar. I know you cheated. Everybody remember him? He got his leg fixed last time. I'll let people come on and tell stories in a minute. I want you to get this, okay? Because if you can really wrap your head around this, you can create some powerful changes, and the universe will literally open up its secrets for you. This is like the skeleton key to the human nervous system, okay? That model that you see in the movies, that virtual reality bubble where he's making things bigger, moving things away, you just did that. It came from your nervous system. Human beings inevitably create through technology what the nervous system does organically. As above, so below. It's a natural law of our universe. If you understand the idea of pattern recognition, if you understand how to pay attention to the whole human being, then you'll know exactly where their problem is, how big it is, and what you need to do to fix it. Your nervous system treats those pictures that you moved around, wrapped around you. Remember that? Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. Okay? Actually, the first module in every class I teach, that's what you learn to do. All right? Your system, your nervous system, treats those things like solid objects. That idea that it's just in your imagination, that distinction happens much later in the process. Every piece of information that's being filtered and processed by your nervous system is massaged, deleted, distorted, generalized, but it's treated as absolutely tangible. It's not metaphorical. Your brains, your nervous systems are simultaneously analytical, literal, and metaphorical. Okay? I was talking about this in the other class, the studies of embodied cognition and object relations theory. If I want you people to be more comfortable around me, I'll give you comfortable chairs to sit in. If I want you to have more warmth towards me emotionally, I'll give you warm drinks to hold. You don't even have to drink them, you just got to hold them. And the parts of your brain that process physical warmth also process emotional warmth. When you see somebody making gestures around their body, I don't want you to see an aura. Does anybody here know what an XY grid is? If you don't, it's okay. I'm going to explain it in my less than educated version. You know what an XY grid is, though, right? You've ever seen those graphs, right? You have an X-axis and a Y-axis, right? It's for charting things on a two-dimensional space. When you want to do things in 3 dimensions, though, you want to do things in 3 dimensions, you need a Z-plane, or a Z-plane. That lets you chart things in 3 dimensions. So when you look at the human body, I don't want you to think about it like a cloud. I want you to see it more like this. Each one of those coordinates has a label and a set of experiences that it contains. When you see people making gestures as they describe their problem, what they're describing for you is the spatial location where that information is stored and the direction the energy is circulating to make it happen. The magic isn't in the energy. For that energy to affect our nervous system, to be utilized by our nervous system, it has to be encoded. Energy is the medium. The message is what we're worried about, what we want to play with. And it has to be in a language the nervous system can understand. Makes sense, doesn't it? One of the parts of that language, NLP went really, really far in helping you get some of the big chunks. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory. Space, time, movement are also parts of that code. In Oriental medicine, we tell you right up front, whenever the energy stops flowing or is impeded, pain erupts. Whether that's physical pain or emotional pain, it's still pain, which means information has stopped flowing. Or it's flowing in the wrong direction. Anybody here have an ache or an ouchie? Cool. You, miss, come on up. Yeah. I'll get to you in a minute. Is this fun so far? You guys having fun?
Yes.
Hey, what's your name?
Aaron.
Aaron. I know you, don't I?
Yes, we met Thursday night.
Yes, Aaron. You have an ouchie.
Yes.
What's going on?
My knee hurts.
Your knee hurts. Is it from an accident, or did you just twist it wrong, or what happened?
Old injury.
Old injury? So it's been going on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And have the doctors done all they can for it? Okay. So let me ask you a question. Is there any reason why you might want to keep that?
No.
You sure?
I'm certain.
If I were to take it away, or if I were to show you how to take it away, Would the doctor get pissed at me?
No.
Would you get pissed at me?
No.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, on a scale of 0 to 10, rate the pain.
4.
4. Excellent. Close your eyes. Point to where you feel it. Okay, so as you focus on the sensation, what I want you to notice is there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Green.
Green, excellent. Reach in, grab all that green energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. You got it all? I don't believe you. You got it? Make sure, just double check. See, you always find extra shit. Now, as you look at it, I want to ask you a question. Did the color change or stay the same, first impression?
Got murkier.
And murkier, excellent. As you look at that murky energy, I want you to notice something, though. I want you to notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning?
That way.
Excellent. Physically grab it with both of your hands. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to slowly change the direction until it's what you want to feel instead. Just keep playing with it so you know you've got it. When you know you've got it, spin it like a wheel in that new direction. That's it. Double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Whatever feelings that are connected to that knee entry, let them come up. Let them come out. That's just the nervous system removing any program that's not in harmony with this new way of being. Like a snake shedding its skin, like an app uninstalling the old software. Just let it happen. Don't try to measure it. Don't try to manage it. And when you know it's done, and only when you know it's done, try to bring the old feeling back. Notice what happens instead.
Cool.
What just happened?
It's not doing the clicky painty thing.
Oh, scale of 0 to 10?
None.
Big round of applause for the lady. Everything we just did, I just taught you. The nervous, yes ma'am?
What if the pain isn't localized, but like fibromyalgia, it's like a spread?
Then that's a chronic illness. I will show you how to deal with that. Because we've had people do this for fibromyalgia. I didn't do it. Other people, my students have done it. Yes, sir. Yeah, you've done this for fibromyalgia? Come on up. We'll just handle it right now. Come on up. And explain what you did. This is Kenner, by the way. We met him at Hypnothoughts last year. He's become the belle of the ball. All right, so go ahead real quick, just explain what you did.
I was doing a workshop and, kind of partner by random choice. Whoever's sitting across from me is now your buddy. We were at the break, and she mentioned she'd had fibromyalgia for 15 years. I said, well, you want to try something cool? She did. So found it. What color is it? Pulled it out. Reversed it. Spun it. Slammed it back in, and she's been fine ever since. I spend more time talking to her about her language. She's going, my fibromyalgia, my pain. I'm going, no. And my first impression was, God, I'm good. The second impression was, I saw a miracle right here. And that was very humbling.
Big round of applause for me. It is a humbling experience. Believe me, when you see that change happen that quick, I still tear up when it happens. It's makes you believe in a higher power, right? Because this didn't happen by accident. This system didn't come into being by accident. Now, I don't know who she was that designed it, because half my demographic is female. All right? But this cannot be random. It cannot be random. I don't believe in a random universe. Yes, ma'am?
What happens to somebody that you already visualize?
They don't have to visualize. They just have to pretend. They don't get hung up on that whole, do I see a picture or not? I don't see pictures. But when I start, I just use my process, right? I say, okay, I feel like shit. Where do I feel it? I feel it right here. We'll reach in and pull it out and just keep pulling. That's the secret. You get someone who has intense trauma or is really married to their issue, just keep pulling. Keep pulling until you know you've got it all. I've had people pull for 20 minutes. I've had people pull so hard they lift themselves out of my chair, gagging and dry heaving, but they pull it all out. Hold it all in your hands. Yes, sir?
Can you, if the original attempt
Yep. You just do it again. Now, when things start to get diminishing effect, or you reach a certain point and it stops, then you start having to ask different questions. Now, you notice when I brought, is it Erica? Aaron, I'm sorry. I'm a little fried today because I'm on all kinds of antihistamines because I don't deal with smoke very well.
We can fix that.
I knew one of you was going to get me. Amen, brothers and sisters. Because that's what it looked like last time I taught this. It looked like a faith healing session. They were lining up, right? You want to impress people. You want to get people into your clinic or inspired to see you do this in a meetup or a free demonstration, where you just pull people up out of the audience and you take shit away. Yes, ma'am.
Can this work for cravings? Like
Yes, it works for everything. I have not found anything that we've thrown this at that it has not worked to some degree. Yes.
I
I'll
have
be right with you.
found on just a few occasions where pain jumped,
Yes, it will.
and I chased it, and it kept jumping,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't, on a couple of occasions, couldn't get rid of it.
And chances are that there's a reason the nervous system needs to hold on to that. I'm going to show you the workaround for that. Okay? That's a very, very good point. There are times when you'll get to a certain point. You notice what I did with Erin was that I had her actually physically look at it and point to it, and then I had her rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. And you noticed I did something that every pain control hypnotist on the planet tells you not to do. What was it? I said pain. Why do you think I did that? I wanted her focused on the pain. I want every part of her nervous system targeted and focused to that spot. Your nervous system is designed to be synergistic. It is not designed to work in isolation. When you have somebody in the chair, their body is completely quiescent. You are working primarily with their mind. You have separated the most powerful change generator he has. And our shit still works. Okay? Understand that. Yes, sir.
I appreciate the pre-talk stuff you did about asking about the doctors and all the rest of it. So I'll say from a layman's point of view, my understanding is pain's there to stop you putting weight on it.
Yes.
So is the pre-talk
Whenever I'm doing pain control work, I have a little bit of a different niche because I am licensed. I'm technically an acupuncturist primary care physician in California. So I can say things like patient without too much trouble. One of the things I want to know when somebody comes to me, because I have 2 chiropractors who refer to me, I get medical doctors and acupuncturists who refer to me. I just want to know is if I take this away, is that going to be okay? Has the medical profession or whatever specialists you're seeing done everything they could? Have they exhausted those privileges? Because then I want to work in conjunction with them. I don't bill myself as the alternative guy. Okay? Every modality works. As Scott Sandlin is famous for saying, we only see people's failures. Right? Mark Cunningham, one of my more infamous mentors, used to say, people look up a hypnotist because they can't find witch doctor in their phone book. Right? And we as a profession often don't help ourselves in that, right? You walk into a hypnotist place, see little moons and glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, right? Yes, sir.
Two questions.
Yes,
What's
sir.
the significance of the notice the color change when it comes out, and you don't do anything more about that? That's one question.
That's a great question. I'll answer it later.
The second one is the other methods that use visualization of geometry and color don't generally have spinning.
That's right.
So is that the key component?
It's one of the biggest ones.
Okay.
Motion is a major, major vowel in the alphabet of the human nervous system. This is why when we talk, our hands don't sit still. Is motion a big part of that process? Because he was talking about geometric figures, he was talking about shapes, moving them around, but the motion is really the linchpin. And somatic engagement. If you get the body involved in that movement, every level of the nervous system engages. So you get an exponential push to the message, and that's what we need. Yes, ma'am?
What if there isn't motion? What if it's
Make it move.
Okay.
Make it
How
move.
makes it
You can, now, I'm using motion and I'm using color as the 2 easiest ones. I've had people use temperature. I literally had, in fact, if you can go on YouTube and find this video, I literally had a guy who had a pain in his foot. Right? He was an avid surfer. I had him reach out and pull it out, and I go, what color is this? And he wasn't really getting a lot on the color. I says, well, what do you know? He says it's hot. I said, really? It's hot. We'll cool it off. He goes, how? I go, you figure it out. He goes, and he blew on it for 2 minutes. And it cooled off. And the pain went, and he put it back in and the pain went away.
Did you spin it?
He didn't need to spin it. His driver was temperature. Yeah.
What about when they pull it out, there's a, what's the significance when they say the color's different? You were going to answer that one.
Yes, but I'm not going to answer it now.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So, to clarify, this is regarding pain?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Anything.
So, anything. Well, how do you mentioned you do a DNA resetting.
DNA theta healing?
Yeah, what if someone has an actual, congenital or technically a DNA that maybe causes to have severe respiratory infection or something autoimmune? Does this only work on the sequelae from it, or can you actually just go ahead and use this to reprogram?
Some of the things I haven't hit everything yet, but we're starting to. We have had actually some success with genetic stuff. Asperger's, some autism stuff. We've actually seen some significant changes utilizing this process. I think I have worked with, so I've worked with some asthma people. I wouldn't say that's congenital. The jury's still out on it. Yeah, I've worked with lupus. It seems to help a lot. Yes?
I noticed you made the pre-frame assumption of how is it moving. You didn't ask whether it was a good threat method to...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Because remember something. Your job as a hypnotist is to manage perception. You want that mind and that nervous system doing what you want it to do in their way. You understand what I'm saying? I would get a much different effect if I were to say, it's moving this way, and make it do this. I'm going to get a much different level of effect. Okay? Your job in this process is to synchronize with their nervous system, which we don't have time. I'd have to spend a couple hours just letting you do that, but you don't need it to get the level of change that we're going to play with today. Okay? But as you get more and more into the things that we teach, the systems that we teach, I'll show you how to do those things. I did some of it yesterday in our class when we did state control stuff. Yes, ma'am?
Don't people use this on themselves?
Yes, I do it all the time. In fact, I will tell you, remind me later, I'll tell you a story about how I actually healed myself from a slipped disc. Yes, ma'am?
So what did you say when you slammed it back into her body? I didn't hear it. You said something?
Yes. Can you come up here for a minute? We'll walk through the process. Okay? Yeah. You don't have to have the glasses on.
Okay.
Okay. First and foremost, do you have something you want to change?
I'm getting a little pain in that knee.
A little pain in that knee.
Right there.
All right. So on a scale of 0, first of all, look at it. Point to it. On a scale of 0 to 10, rate the intensity of the pain.
About a 3.
Okay. Close your eyes. Look at the sensation. And as you look at the sensation, I want you to notice there's a color connected to it. What's that color? First impression.
Red.
Red. Reach in, grab all that energy, take it out, and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. Double check. Perfect. You get it all? You sure? Double check.
Yeah.
Okay. Did the color change or stay the same? First impression.
Same.
Excellent. As you look at it, I want you to notice it's moving in a certain direction. What direction is it moving? First impression.
It's going this way.
Physically grab it with both of your hands. Make it the opposite of what it was. Turn it so it's moving the opposite of what it was. Now physically double it. Spin it like a wheel. Double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's gone.
It is. It really is.
Big round of applause for the lady. Come back up here. We're not done with you yet. We're not done with you yet. Quick question. Yes?
Yeah, so I'm doing this on myself. I noticed that when you did the technique for her, the other person, you do the, what do I do to myself?
Same thing.
Just go.
Do exactly the same thing as if you were the patient. Now, what we did here, remember, if you can point to it in your body, you have everything you need to change it. And I don't care if it's I've had 5 documented cases of curing a broken heart, including a PhD professor in transpersonal psychology. Okay? The nervous system doesn't care if it's a physical pain or an emotional pain. The nervous system does not care. When you're interacting at this level of the nervous system, everything you're doing is just data. Telling the nervous system what to express, what reality is. You understand what I'm saying? When you're working at this level, you're controlling every aspect of their reality. Anybody here familiar with the Aaron's depth scale? Any hypnotists in the room? All right. People wonder, well, is this really hypnosis? No. Or maybe yes. Is it energy? No. It's everything. Your nervous system is the most powerful quantum information processing system on the planet. And everything that you think is reality isn't. It's just an interpretation of data. Understand this at a very, very profound level. The nervous system doesn't care if that sensation she had in her knee was caused by a motorcycle accident or repressed fear. At the level we're interacting with, it's just data. The nervous system doesn't make it what's good, what's bad. You understand? Okay, I'm going to make it very simple. Yes, sir.
So the first statement you made almost in the class was the nervous system requires repetition to learn, but you're doing it all in boom, one thing. So where's the repetition?
Very good question. You're asking really good questions.
I'm the question guy.
I know. Okay, I'm sorry. Do I need to... Should I turn the microphone on? I'm going to blame you guys. Repeat his question? Okay. Okay, he's asking... Ooh. I don't know, more powerful than I thought. Okay. You can have a seat for just a moment. This question was... What was your question again?
The first thing you said in the class was the nervous system requires...
Yes, where was the repetition? The repetition isn't my part. Repetition is hers. And I have a sneaky hypnotist way to activate everyone's convincer strategy. Double the spin. Double the speed. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. And it's going back the way it was. And when you know you've got it, you know what? We're just going to have to keep it loud because, yeah, okay. We'll see how long that lasts. And keep doubling it until it takes on a life of its own. That's the convincer strategy activator right there. I don't have to say spin it 7 times because your convincer strategy is 7 times. No. It's a convincer on multiple levels. Yes, ma'am?
So when you take it out and you say, is it moving?
Mm-hmm.
Then you keep spinning it the way it's already moving, or do you make it...
That depends on what you want to do with it. If it's something you want more of, notice the direction it's moving. Since it's something you want more of, double the spin in the direction it's already moving. If it's something you want less of, you have 2 choices. And I'll go back and forth between them. I'll either make it the opposite of what it was, phonetic ambiguity, right? Double the spin in the new direction. Double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Or, like I did with Aaron, contrast to what I did with this young lady, notice that that direction makes it feel a certain way. Keep changing the direction until it's what you want to feel instead. And what did she do? Was she absorbed in that process? Amen, sister and brother. Most of what I do is about facilitating absorption in the process. Yes?
I have 2 questions for you. First one is with respect to spinning. It's a submodality I've not seen used before. It's a cool idea. There's a lot of motion in it. Have you just picked up on that and started using that because of the motion and the results using it?
I got that entire process downloaded to me in 2005 during a break at Jerry Kind's hypnotherapy training. Jerry Kind. I didn't learn it from Jerry. I just happened to be there. And it's interesting because there's a couple of big name trainers out there who do spinning, like Richard Bandler's neurohypnotic repatterning. Even Scott, way back in the day, did some things with spinning. I did not learn those things through them. This came to me, and then I went to their trainings much, much later. In fact, in 2005 is when I got this technique. I didn't actually go to neurohypnotic repatterning until 2013. I didn't know what I had. And I'll tell that story, but I want to really get the practice thing going. Yes, ma'am?
Can you do it?
No, this ma'am, lady behind you.
How about for acute injury at the time of the
Yes, I've done it on many different types of acute injury. I have an emergency room physician, I don't know if I should say his name, Dr. Bill in San Diego. He's a post-trauma treatment care physician. He came to my real-world hypnotherapy training, and he had been using this particular spin technique intermittently. I did it to him. His headache went away. He was blown away. He went back to the treatment room, and a few days later, he started using it on 9 times a day on anybody that came in. Everything from kidney stones to a guy with a motorcycle accident had a bone sticking out, and the guy was screaming for morphine and medication. He walked up to the guy, did the spin, he went completely stable, no pain at all. Okay? Acute injury, yeah, it works. If you can get them to follow the instruction, which is always going to be the challenge. There's only 2 reasons people don't do what you want them to do. They don't want to, or they don't want to. The question is, why don't they want to? Is it because they don't understand, or because they're afraid? Secondary gain, yes. Ma'am? I did. He walked in all like this. He walked out like this. I don't say I cured him, because I don't think I did. But what I did do is reroute a lot of the messaging in his brain and in his nervous system. And then I started doing more aggressive work to start to bring other things back online. Hold on, this lady had a question. She's been waiting patiently. Yes?
So do you ever do it for someone else remotely?
Through Skype?
Just sending the energy or doing it energetically?
No. No, I do mostly through Skype. Mostly, hold on. This lady, yes?
What's the significance of the touch? You don't touch until they explain.
Depends. I've done it both ways. I find if you haven't been through my state control training, touch is a good way to really, really amplify this process. Remember, one of the big factors that I haven't really expounded on as much as I would like, and I can't emphasize it enough, is a concept I call somatic engagement. You've got to get their meat suit involved. You've got to get them acting these things out. You've got to get your body involved. Was I calm and sedate and monotone?
No.
Hell no! I'm adding my amplitude to hers. And it's creating a push to the signal that engages every level of the human nervous system. From the proprioceptive all the way to the autonomic, parasympathetic. Everything gets engaged. Yes?
Isn't there a risk that if you take away the pain, then people won't get treated? Because often pain or particular feeling can just be a symptom.
Almost always. In my world, pain is almost always a symptom.
So if you take it away, then isn't there a risk that the people are not going to seek the treatment?
Well, that's why you have to do your due diligence as a therapist and make sure that you set the parameters for what you've done, why you've done it, and make sure that they follow up with the people that they're supposed to follow up with. Right? That doesn't, just because this is a quick, powerful technique and you can do really amazing things with it, doesn't mean you should neglect your responsibilities as a healer, as a therapist. Yes?
Why are we assuming we're just taking away pain?
I wouldn't.
You would.
I wouldn't. Matter of fact, one of the very first times I had to use this was not about pain. It was about terminal cancer. That's a story in and of itself. Yes, ma'am?
First of all, if you can repeat the questions, it would really be helpful.
Okay. So she was asking if we're taking the pain away, how are we going to make sure, and I'm paraphrasing, how are we going to make sure that they're going to continue to seek treatment? Is that basically right? And there's only so much we can do, right? That's why I make sure when people come in for my intake, I make sure I want to know where they've been. I want to know who they've tried, what the doctor's saying. You'll hear me ask that same question I asked Aaron. What would the doctor say if I took this away? Right? And you'll see him go, by the way, if you get a fear response when you ask if it's okay to take it away, you know you've got some kind of secondary gain issue. Right there. Yes?
But also, is this a technique that you meet with people?
Yep.
Do they need your extra,
Nope.
your enthusiasm to make it
Nope,
work?
not at all. I've had many people do this to themselves. I recommend if you're going to do this on yourself, do it on about 10 or 15 other people first. So you really have internalized the process, and then you can just start having fun with it. Yes? I'll be right with you.
Between taking away the pain and taking away the suffering. Like, is there any, I'm new to this.
Suffering, I have an interesting speech on pain and suffering. Pain is transient. Pain is that discomfort you go through on the way to change. Make sense, right? You go engage in a change, the pain happens, it's done, and you're different. Suffering is what you incur, it's the pain you incur when you run away from the thing you need to change. So in that case, yes, there is a difference between pain and suffering, because suffering is a choice most of the time. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Right there.
You just mentioned about
Absolutely. I do. There's a bunch of things that I do. I'm going to show you some after we practice this. Okay. Last question.
So we're talking about removing the pain and everything, but is there a process of this that's actually going to help heal the issue? Like I have a bad shoulder. You can take away pain, great, but is there something in this that's also going to promote healing?
I'm going to be upfront with you. I don't know. I've had evidence for both. I've had people do stuff with shoulders that never comes back. They're better than ever. And then I've had people that, they look at the MRI and there's nothing really changed, but the sensation is completely different. And I'm gonna actually wax AOM theory, Oriental medical theory, to kind of explain what I believe is happening. One, I believe that in Oriental medicine we have this thing called yin and yang, or yin and yang, depending on what part of the world you're from. All right. The yang components are energy, their function. Right? So if I have a yang deficiency, I'll be weak, but I may not actually have a structural defect going on. Does that make sense? You need the yin component as a vessel for the yang component to activate. Your yin components go to your structure, your muscles, your blood, the things that are actually solid. My belief, and this technique is so new that we haven't had enough research on finding out just how pervasive it is. I'll give you some anecdotal stuff that tends to lead to, it could be taken either way, but what my belief is that when you reactivate the information level, you restore the yang component first. You will restore function first. Okay? And I believe that over time, because yin is much slower, the body takes much slower to manifest from an energetic foundation. That's 5,000 years of Chinese medicine. I believe over time, with the right building blocks, I believe that the yin component will restore itself. Now, to that, I have taken people who had an irate girlfriend stab them in the hand, and for 8 years afterwards, that hand was completely numb. And I tested that because he was one of my martial arts students. And I would go to crank on his pressure points in that hand, and he would look at me. He came to my mastermind meeting one time where we were doing Secrets of Personal Transformation. I taught him how to do the spin. I didn't know anything about his hand at the time. He went home, did the spinning technique on his own hand, and the feeling came back after 8 years. Now, you guys want, I will send you that field report because he posted it on Facebook. Okay. Yes, ma'am, sir. So much for my last question idea.
Back when, I don't want to do this thing because it's important to me. Back when you did the healing on me last year.
Come on up here so they can hear you.
Last year I had a thing happen where I couldn't walk. I had something happen to my calf and I was limping, and you did the technique on me. And I was able to walk for the rest of the event with no pain. When I got home, my whole leg was all bloodshot, and it took a while to repair. But I feel personally from my experience that it was not just your energy, but there was like 200 people in the room. And I felt like there was an accumulation of the total energy in the room plus your energy, which is why I asked about that whoosh thing. That also was part of the component that made it instantaneous for me.
Okay.
Does that seem real to you?
I've done this one-on-one with people and had the same level of effect. So it can happen, but it's not something that was intentional. It might be something that was circumstantial. But if that helps you, then great, utilize that. But you don't need a room of 150 people.
Oh, I've done it without the room, but I mean, I thought on that one occasion.
I think if you understand how to move energetics and to create entrainment with all the energy systems in the room, then you can actually lead that energy and utilize it. But that falls outside of most people's pay grades.
Okay, thank you.
All right, those things are possible. Okay, good speakers do it kind of unconsciously. But as you learn about advanced rapport skills and things like that, there's a lot of things that you can do. So, come back up. Let's go through this, shall we? The first thing you want to do is you always want to make sure that you have compliance. Remember, she didn't have to believe anything about this. In fact, I don't mention hypnosis when I do this. I just say you want to feel better. Have you been a little kid? Right? So what I did here is I had her point to where she felt it. She reached down, she touched her knee. Then I had her look at it. I've just matched the internal and the external, the somatic and the visual. I've activated different cortexes of the brain. Understand that? I said pain, which means wherever the pain is, her mind is going. Right? Absorption and focus. You want to activate as many different segments of the nervous system as possible. You don't have to know all this. Just do it. It'll happen, right? This is the most user-friendly technique on the planet, right? Point towards it. Close your eyes. Now look at it with your inner eyes. Key word. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color? First impression. As soon as she gives you color, perfect. Reach in, grab all that X color. You don't even have to say energy. Just reach in, grab all that X color, take it out and hold it in your hand. Make sure you get it all. Because sometimes that shit hides. Shit being a technical term. Secret human influence technologies. As you look at it, got it all? Always, when in doubt, make them go back and look. Okay? Did the color change or stay the same? First impression. Always first impression. Notice it's moving. By the way, whatever color they say, if it changed, great. If it didn't change, perfect. Right? Oops. More. I'm gonna look so funny on YouTube. All this shit. What the hell? Oh, that's okay. Oh, did it fall? No. Sorry. All the people who buy the audio from this are going to go from Hypnothoughts are going to go, what's he doing? It's because you've got to buy the good one from me. Okay. So, whatever color it is, did it stay the same? Did it change? Perfect. Notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? First impression. They're going to give you a direction. What direction was yours spinning?
It's going forward.
Perfect. Grab it with both of your hands. Make it the opposite of what it was. By the way, what did I do? I made it the opposite too, didn't I? What do you think I just did neurologically? Mirror neurons. I'm standing in her proprioceptive grid. Our energies are communicating pre-consciously. Everything that I do with my body, her neurons are going to repeat pre-consciously. Get it? This shit can't not happen. Whether they know they've done it consciously or unconsciously, they've already done it. This is what I mean. This is not just, there's a lot under the hood. Okay? Once you got it, double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again. And this is what you'll see. Even the people who are tentative, is him go. And the thing will start to automate. All right? Keep doubling it until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Wherever part they slam into, if I can get to it, I'll get to it. If not, I'll work the conception vessel and the governing vessel. And I'll go.
Ooh, and it was something.
Notice the change. Notice that it's gone. Now, the nervous system it never expects. And so it's fully immersed in this process. Then all of a sudden, something comes from out of nowhere, and holy shit, something really did happen. The fact that I'm swiping energy up the conception vessel and up the governing vessel and rushing energy into the nervous system may have something to do with it too. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Or notice it's getting better, depending on where you want to go. Yes, ma'am?
If someone has a limiting belief of yourself, obviously you're being alien now. Have you ever used this with women or
Yep. I've used this on everything from, I've cured flying phobia in 90 seconds. To the point where he forgot he was even afraid of it. I've cured social anxiety. I've cured limiting beliefs. Many times limiting beliefs are more than one belief though. And you have to be a little bit more of a detective to find out really where is the problem, right? But if it's about a feeling, if he can point or she can point to where they feel it, you have all the information you need to start changing it. Yes, ma'am?
Slow motion, can you show us the...
Sure, sure. Come on over here. I'm going to swish you again. Right? So what I do, and again, that's, a lot of times when you're dealing with emotional stuff, especially,
I'm bent down. Do you get me coming up?
I can get you here, or I can get you here. So I'll come up and then down.
You're touching her.
Mm-hmm. And I'm rushing energy up, rushing energy down. Right? So I'm active. I'm working with every level of the nervous system. Okay? These are, again, we could add more bells and whistles. We can get minute. It doesn't. You don't need it. You can get ugly with this. Yes.
I just had one question. If it was a tumor, let's say in her knee, and you take it out and spun it, would you really? And would you want to put that back in?
Yes.
You would.
Yes.
Because it's the pain. It's not really the tumor.
The pain is just a symptom.
Okay. Can you repeat that question?
If it's a tumor and you take it out and you spin it, do you want to put it back in? The answer is yes. In my experience, you can do it either way. It almost always works better when you put it back in. Yes?
For the squishy physical contact thing, that is not a necessity, right?
No, it's not a necessity. You don't have to do it. But remember, the more things we add into this, the more of the nervous system we engage, the more powerful the result will get faster. Who had a question? Yes?
So last year, I took this same class. You did this demonstration. You didn't do whoosh. You did, I'm going to smooth out your aura. So you changed it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
Because I forgot.
Oh.
No, the truth is that I try to tailor the jargon that I use to the audience I'm with. Does that make sense? And sometimes because I knew I was dealing with people who were primarily coming from that metaphysical side of things, and they didn't have a lot of the neuroscience of the jargon and stuff. I tried to keep more with that language because you can relate to that better than when I say your proprioceptive grid or creating a somatic bridge, right? Or mirror neurons. Very few people even in that room at the time knew about mirror neurons, much less what you could do with them, right? So that's most likely why I'm doing what I'm doing. Plus, I've come a long way in what I've learned and how I teach this particular process. Because we touched off a firestorm with this thing. This thing is like changing lives all over the world. It's just amazing to me. Yes?
So could you, any one issue, the physical pain could be somewhere else, the emotional component, how they feel about it is somewhere.
Yep.
Can you even track like a lineage component? And just
I
do the
can.
same thing
There's a lot of things I can do
multiple times,
once you prove to me you have the basic technique. Hint. Yes.
So, just a quick question. If a person has multiple points of pain,
Mm-hmm.
can you address them all at one time?
Yes.
And how, just quickly, how could you do
The verbiage would be, there's a place where all of those feelings intersect, where they all meet, where they all come from. Point to where your feeling is, first impression. Okay, but I wouldn't.
Don't do it?
I wouldn't do it that way. I have done it that way. A year after that, I wouldn't do it that way. I would do something a little different. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to pick some things that you want to change. You're going to use what I call the bucket list technique, which means you take the biggest, nastiest, most horrible things or challenging things in your life, the things that cause you the most pain and suffering, you assign a value of 10 to it. Cut that in half. Find every event or experience in your life that has half of that intensity rated a 5. Cut it in half again. There's your 2.5 or 3. All the way down so you have a nice, neat categorization of emotional intensity from 0 to 10. Follow me? You are to start with the zeros. Find things in your mind or body. Thank you. Give her a big round of applause. You are to find things in your mind or body that have an emotional intensity of 0 to 3, or 1 to 3 in this case. Okay? You are to do this technique at a minimum of 3 times at that intensity level before you're allowed to step it up. Got it? My training protocol is called the 3x3 rule. 3 different times, 3 different people, as the subject, as the hypnotist or operator. To me, 3 is the magic number. You don't own anything until you've done it at least 3 times. One of my biggest pet peeves with a lot of trainers. You go to a lecture, They demo the technique, you break up, you do the technique once as the subject, once as the operator, you're back to the next training. You're back to the next technique. Well, yeah, you had enough of a taste. You don't own anything. Okay? This is how I train when I do my 5 days, my 7 days. We do more hands-on than anyone in the industry, which is why my people on their way home cure people in the airport, cure soldiers of post-traumatic stress. Amazing story. Her name was Pam. There was this soldier. He was having a major meltdown in the middle of an airport. She had just come from the 5-day where we'd learned the spitting technique. She walked up to him. She said, point to where you feel it. You know what? Point to where you feel it. He pointed to where she felt it, where he felt it. So take it out. Boom. Went away. Everything was, he was back to completely normal. He spent the rest of the flight following her around. When they parted, he gave her his Wounded Warrior jacket. Not me. You. Go practice. You can clap, it's okay. Okay. 10 minutes? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, they have given me 10 minutes to answer every single question in the universe about how this works. Probably not going to happen. All right? So I'm going to tell you we have a whole bunch of stuff coming up. All right, everybody find your chairs. Those of you handing out my favors, thank you. I will give you extra stuff somehow, some way. What was the question, ma'am?
I wanted you to talk about jumping from one place to the other.
Okay. When something is jumping, it's almost always indicative, A, of an initial sensitizing event, and self-preservation. What do I mean by that?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, when the pain or the sensation is jumping all over the body, what do you do with that? Well, you can in fact follow it. Everywhere it goes, you can just keep running. But there's a more direct way to deal with that and understand what it actually means. And what it means is that there's a reason why the nervous system doesn't want to let it go. Okay, you can call it secondary gain if you like. I don't use that term as much anymore. Remember one of the prime directives of the nervous system, you'll hear me use that a lot more than I will use unconscious mind. Okay, because I'm working with the nervous system, and that's everything. I'm not bypassing the critical factor, I'm using it. I'm using it. When I have you look at your image and you analyze it and you start noticing the direction, that's analysis. That's your critical faculty, as Mike Mandel would say. Right? Right? Yes, ma'am.
You said you were going to tell us what it means when it changes.
I am.
Okay, sorry.
It means nothing.
Thank you. I didn't want to walk
The
out.
secret behind a lot of the questions that I ask is it's designed to facilitate and amplify absorption within the construct we've created. Remember I just said I'm using the critical faculty? Well, when I have you asking if the color changed or stays the same, what do you have to do to make that happen? You got to fucking look at it. In order to look at it, you got to create it. Right? And then within that imaginary construct, you're inside analyzing it. You're engaging in analytical processes within an imaginary construct, which isn't imaginary, by the way. It's symbolic, but it is vibrational. Get it? I am using all of the nervous system. Now, a couple of things can happen when you do this. Now, there was a lot of linguistic stuff I was doing that I do not have a chance to elaborate on. So I promise you this. Tomorrow I am doing a breakout called Instant Conversational Hypnosis. For those of you who care and who want to, I will break down all of the linguistics of this technique tomorrow so that you can nail it.
What time is it at? What time?
You have to look at your app. If you haven't gotten the event board app, get it. Right? You'll notice some of my assistants have handed out a brochure. I do not have the time in this breakout to go through that, but if you will follow me, to the HPTI booth in the vendors area. I will explain it to you. Actually, I may not be able to explain it to you. I have another event, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to Hidden Laws of Attraction next. So if you will follow me to Hidden Laws of Attraction, we'll actually take this stuff on a meta level. But let me finish this. When you have things that are either chronic or they reach a certain point, they've started at a 7 or 8, they get down to like a 2, and then they just kind of stop, or they go and they come back. It's almost always indicative of something the nervous system's trying to preserve. Now, when the nervous system creates a complex, and when I say a complex, it's a gestalt. It's visuals, auditories, kinesthetics, it's implicit lessons, it's derived lessons, it's all of this stuff in one big soup that the nervous system can't differentiate the baby from the bathwater in that particular instance. So you have to give it a separate process to do that. The process I use is called the magic frame. The magic frame is a video. It's on my YouTube channel. I've used it several times. It consists of this. You do a somatic bridge. You create the feeling, the picture. Remember we did this? I'm cheating. You have to put a big, thick black frame around it. Okay? At the bottom of the frame, dials, knobs, and switches. One controls the volume, one controls the contrast, one controls the brightness, one controls the vertical hold. You have them white the image out, notice how it feels. Turn it all the way to the left, black the image out, notice how it feels. Ask them which one they like better. Then, using their dominant hand, you have them write the lessons across the screen so that they can keep the lesson and let the rest go. And you have them just keep writing. And when you know you've got it all, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp.
What's it called again?
What?
Magic frame.
Magic frame. Have them shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp. Move it up over the top of their head and all the way behind them. And then I say, you know the sound a nail gun makes or a bank vault makes when it slams shut? Nail it back there. When you know it's done, try to bring it back. Notice what happens instead. That's the secret, okay? So you shrink it down, move it up over their head all the way into the past, nail it back there some way using a fixation metaphor, a bank vault slamming, a nail gun, staples, right? Anything that any metaphor that implies permanence and fixation. Get it? Remember, your nervous system is literal, analogical, and metaphorical all at the same time. Use all of it. Thank you for coming.